Welcome to your Metal Riffs and Licks video, and thank you so much for joining my metal guitar community here. I wanted to make this video for you so that you'd have a visual to go along with as you're going through your practice guide and the guitar tabs that I sent you to your email. And we're going to dive right into the lessons, but I just want to cover a few things really quickly here before we do that. Now, by the way, if you're coming back to watch this, there are timestamps for each lesson in the description of this video, so just click on whatever lesson you want to go to. Number one, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go ahead and do that now and make sure the notifications are on. I'm constantly putting out awesome content for you and helping you as much as I can as a metal guitarist. Now, as you learn these riffs and licks, what I encourage you to do is to practice them to a metronome or maybe a drum pattern, a drum loop, something like that. But don't worry so much about playing them as fast as you possibly can. That's not what this is about. Yeah, there's a riff and a lick or two that are meant to be played faster, but don't worry about speed. Focus more on accuracy. More importantly, as you go through these lessons, I want you to focus on developing your own style of playing because you have a very unique talent within you, and I want you to focus on bringing that out and again developing your own style no matter what level you're at. If you're a beginner, intermediate, if you're already an advanced player, continue to focus on building your own style and sound as you go through these lessons. So let's get started with lesson one. This first riff is built on the foundation of classic heavy metal music, and there are three elements I want you to focus on here. One is you're playing downstrokes, which means you're just downward picking the entire time. Secondly, you've got palm muting in there, and what I want to share with you real quick here is if you're new at palm muting, this is just where you're kind of resting your palm on the bridge where the strings meet the bridge there. You don't want to press down too hard because then you're going to bend the strings and your notes are going to be sharp, okay? But you don't want too soft of a placement either. You just want to kind of have it kind of just resting on there almost. Now, another thing I'll tell you for picking, especially for downstrokes, when I pick, and this is just me personally, I tend to pick outward almost, like my pick is kind of going away from the bridge there, just slightly at that angle, and that just tends to help me with downstrokes. Now, the other element is the power chords that make up this riff here, and of course that's like the epitome of heavy metal as well, just playing those power chords in between those palm mutes. So let's go over the riff one more time. Now you'll notice these killer chords have a very unique sound to them, just a very cool texture and tone to them. So unlike a regular power chord where you're playing the root note and the fifth note, you're playing the root note and the third note in this case here with all three chords that we just played and that you're about to play again. Now, you may hear these called inverted power chords at times, and that's because the position of your fingers on the fretboard are going to be kind of inverted, going to be kind of backwards there. So that might take some getting used to, and if you're not used to these types of chords here, just go through them slow and eventually you'll get used to it. But these types of chords are really neat to throw into a riff that has regular power chords, but you want something just a little different. So let's go through that one more time. In this riff, we're doing more finger movement here with the single note patterns, and this is kind of where rhythm guitar meets lead guitar, because you are moving those fingers around a lot more. And this is when you get into some of the more complex metal rhythms, okay, when you're doing those single note patterns and just moving those fingers a little bit faster. And also, we're playing this in a different key. Our first two riffs that we played were in the key of E minor. I wanted to switch things up for you because I want you to get used to playing throughout different places on your fretboard, not in just one place or in just one key. So we're in the key of B minor for this riff. This riff is where we get into the fast alternate picking, and I'll share a little trick that I use. Remember, in the first riff that we went over, the classic heavy metal riff, I told you that I usually angle my pick kind of going away from the bridge just slightly. Well, when I go to alternate pick, which is just back and forth, I actually angle my pick back the other way just slightly. So I'm holding my pick a little bit differently. Now here's how I hold my pick, and I should have showed you this earlier. I hold it with two fingers like that and with my thumb on the other side there. When I'm alternate picking, because I'm going to kind of switch from going that way to back this way a little bit, I'll prop my thumb up. I'll just bend my thumb just a little bit, and that will allow me to kind of get that angle that I need to pick faster, do that alternate picking. Now, that's just my personal technique that I use that may or may not work for you, but I wanted to share that with you anyway, just in case it helps. And again, don't worry about trying to play this too fast. Just get the riff down and just get that method down, the alternate picking. Just get that down to where you can play it smoothly. This is one of my personal favorite techniques in metal music, and I know a lot of guitar players love playing this, and they love it when they first get it as well, because it's kind of difficult to grasp at first, but it's called galloping. And this is really just alternate picking, but it's a very quick, snappy 1, 2, 3. And that's what you have to get used to. So if you're having trouble with this riff, what I would encourage you to do is just get on that open E string, have your palm there, palm mute that, and just practice the 1, 2, 3, just real quick, 1, 2, 3. Just practice that over and over and over, and I promise it will come to you, and then you can go back to playing this riff that we're learning here. Now we're getting into our lead patterns, our guitar solos here, and this first little lead lick here is very melodic in nature, and I started that way for a reason. You see, I think people focus on shred way too much and they kind of lose that feeling, so I wanted you to start out with a melodic pattern here. Now we will get into some faster guitar solo licks here, okay, that's coming up, but I wanted you to start out with something that was melodic and something that kind of just sings. It's replacing the vocals, and that's what the guitar solo really is supposed to do. It's supposed to give you that same feeling as the vocals would during that part. So let's play through this one more time. You're gonna love and hate this little lick here, and I like to call it finger cardio because you get tired after playing it. And what we're focused on here are methods called hammer-ons and pull-offs. We kind of use those together. You're hammering down on a note and then you're pulling off to get that effect. And we're not picking any, we're not using our pick hand at all. We're just doing finger cardio. So start out slow on this. It might take you a while to pick up speed, and that's okay. Just start out slow and just focus on accuracy and just building up the strength and dexterity in your fingers. Now this is really a great alternate picking exercise for guitar soloing, and it's also what I call a shred primer. Because you're alternate picking, you're kind of gradually building up that speed, and the better you get at this, the faster you will be able to play more notes on your guitar. Now, more notes shouldn't always be the goal, and I know I talked about this earlier. That shouldn't always be the goal, but there is a time and place for it. Yeah, you want the melodies, but hey, sometimes you just want to show off and say, look, yeah, I can do this, and shred it up. And that's what this lesson is all about, helping you alternate pick your guitar solos, alternate pick those notes so that you can play faster. I'm calling this the mind bender because we've just got some really cool bends that we're doing here, and we're really just bringing out that emotion in this guitar solo. We're not just playing a bunch of fast notes, and we're not just playing 1, 2, 3. We're putting these really wicked bends in there. I really want you to practice this and spend probably more time on this particular lick lesson here than the other licks that we're going through. They're all important, but I would encourage you to spend a little bit more time on this and just see what you can come up with. In our final metal riffs and licks lesson, we are doing a sweep arpeggio pattern, actually 2 of them here, but we're doing something a little different. We're not just doing the standard up and down sweep arpeggio or down and up. We're not just doing that, right? We're adding some melodic nature to the sweep patterns, and that's what brings the sweep arpeggios to life. So sure, we're learning the technique, and if you're new at sweep arpeggios, this is really just a very fluid, letting your hand kind of fall as you're fretting those notes and then just kind of letting it glide back up. You're not picking out each individual note. It's just kind of a really smooth glide. So if you need to just practice the arpeggios that we do there, and we do a little hammer on in that too, if you need to just practice those parts and get those down, feel free to do that, but I do want you to come back and add those other little licks that we're doing in between there and after each arpeggio, because again, those are the types of things that really brings your guitar solo to life. All right, you did it. You made it through the metal riffs and licks. Now the next natural step for you, and you may be in this already, but if you're not, and if you'd like to expand your creativity and your ability as a metal guitar player, specifically focusing on the thing that really matters the most in metal music, and that's the rhythms and the riffs, I want to encourage you to check out my online guitar course called Metal Riff Master. There's actually a link in the YouTube description of this video here. Now, of course, the course is not on YouTube. It's on its own platform, but learn more about it. Click that link and learn how Metal Riff Master can help you expand your ability and just unleash that potential that you have. So many guitar players play for years and years and years, and they just reach a certain point and just can't seem to get past it. This course is going to help you expand and get beyond those limits that you think that you have. So check that out. Again, the link is in the description of this video here. I hope you enjoyed the metal riffs and licks. I'll see you again very, very soon. Until then, keep it metal.